Hi, everyone. Welcome to Waste 360's Nothing Wasted podcast. On every episode, we invite the most interesting people in waste, recycling, and organics to sit down with us and chat candidly about their thoughts, their work, this unique industry, and so much more. So thanks for listening and enjoy this episode. Hi, everyone. This is Liz Bothwell from Waste 360 with Josh Mann, Public Sector Solutions Manager at Waste Management. Hi, Josh, and thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me on, Liz. I have to say it's kind of a surreal moment for me. I've listened to the past episodes, and I never really thought I'd be in the same cohort as my fellow waste management folks as Susan Robinson or Tara Hemmer, or people like Adam Minter. So kind of crazy, but here I am.
Well, good for you, and it's well-deserved, for sure. And to get us started, I'd love to hear a little bit about your background and how you found yourself working in this great industry.
Yeah. So I'd obviously been familiar with waste management prior to joining the company, but my entrance into the industry was certainly not planned or expected. My background was really in economic development. I'd worked basically on a local level, assisting businesses with either starting new projects or expanding, or even just retaining what they had. I did that for a couple of economic development groups, and then I went to work for a public affairs firm that specialized in land use planning, which gave me some really great insight into how the regulatory world works. And then from there, I actually made the jump into kind of tax world and spent some time working for a state tax agency, and never really thought much more about the waste and recycling industry other than rolling my carts out to the curb on collection day. And obviously as a kid, I recycled my bottles and cans to buy toys and ice cream and that sort of thing. But had a chance encounter, actually. A good friend of mine, very involved in the communities where I work. I had took a lunch with somebody that I was looking for some advice on to help out with a project I was doing for our local YMCA. And basically, as soon as we sat down to lunch, she said, "Are you interested in making a career change?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, I heard about this position at Waste Management, and I thought you would be perfect." And I just looked at her and I said, "Are you sure? Like, I have no background in the waste or recycling industry." And she said, "Don't worry about that." She said, "You have a passion for doing good things in the community, and you work hard. They can teach you about the industry. They can't replace those intrinsic parts to, being good at your job." That ultimately, she saw something in me. And the next day I received a call from someone at Waste Management that just confirmed my interest, and from there I interviewed, and 5 years later, here I am.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And clearly she saw something special, and those intangibles can't really be overlooked. I mean, that's what makes people do the job that they do, and that passion fuels you for sure. That's awesome. And we're thankful in the industry that you made it here.
It's a trend that I'm seeing more and more in our industry is that especially here at Waste Management, is that it's about finding the most talented people, the most passionate people at what they do. And sometimes you can be found within the industry, and sometimes they're coming in from outside the industry. But I really am noticing a change, especially here in my role, where we're bringing in some just really amazing, talented, driven people.
Oh, that's great. And congrats on being one of this year's esteemed 40 under 40 winners. I have to say your nomination was impressive, and you were referred to as a real game changer, which is an amazing way for someone to describe a person. So can you dig a little bit into the work you're doing in waste management and tell us more about that?
Certainly. So my role here with waste management is specifically I design and manage municipal collection programs for our franchise customers here in Southern California. That seems kind of bread and butter for our business, but it's fairly unique when you get down to it. I have to take basically our experience as a company, our resources, and our capabilities, and then I got to distill that down into the actual services that we provide to meet the needs of our customers and the goals of the communities that we serve. It really is, I've come to refer to it as kind of a Swiss Army position here at Waste Management, that I don't directly handle customer service. I've never driven a collection vehicle. I've visited a MRF, but I don't know, down to the detail of how the material gets processed. But I need to have an innate sense of how that all comes together, and it is truly a game changer role in terms of in the last couple of years I've had the opportunity to take communities that maybe didn't have recycling programs or didn't have great recycling programs and basically create and launch those programs and really take those communities to the next level. We've been able to partner with communities on projects that were important to them, whether it was cleaning up their community or establishing programs to help educate young people about sustainability. Those are the opportunities that being here at Waste Management and in the role that I'm in, that I have the ability to take a firsthand role in seeing through.
Oh, that's great. And I know you're doing some work with organics recycling. Can you tell us how your organics recycling programs are going? I mean, I can't believe 2020 is already here, and I know California is pushing for diverting 75% of organic waste and recyclables from the waste stream. How is that going?
Yeah. So I think it's pretty fair to say that there's never been a more dynamic time to be in the industry, and probably no more challenging a place in the country to be in the industry than California. But I am very thankful. We're very, very engaged in the policy changes that have taken place in California. I really have seen the shift, and that I think in a lot of ways we've gone from a lot of education and good faith efforts to really real tangible programs that are helping to divert out organic waste. I know that throughout our Southern California area that we've got a lot of different ways that we're approaching it based on the resources and capabilities we have available. We're also striking those partnerships that help basically pave the way for additional organics diversion to occur. And then definitely working with our communities, the cities and counties and special districts that we serve to really build out the rest of those diversion programs, knowing that while today, it's really California's very focused on the waste stream generated by commercial businesses and multifamily properties, that we're not too far off from it extending to basically every generator in California. And it's certainly a tall task, and it's not going to happen overnight, but we're seeing some great progress. Communities that have stepped up to the plate and embraced the change. It's opened a lot of doors of communication with our customers, and the fact that based on the regulatory changes and things they're reading in the news, that they're certainly asking a lot more questions about their waste stream and the opportunities to see that more of it goes to places other than landfills. And I have the great privilege of helping to deliver a lot of those solutions on a community-wide basis.
Oh, that's great. And speaking of educating residents, do you have any tips on doing that? Because I know that's a huge part of cleaning up the contamination.
Yeah, contamination is one of our primary focuses for helping to ease the challenges we're seeing in the recycling industry. And to that extent, several years ago, folks like Susan Robinson really helped kind of break things down. That's how we ended up with our Recycle Right campaign, really focusing on those items that I think we all know are recyclable, and yet we're not capturing nearly as much of that stream as we should be. And then at the same time, finding those kind of game changer items that if we could get those out of the recycling stream would make the ability to process and obviously get material moved on to their next life that much easier. And for my role, it's really a multi-pronged approach, certainly from the standpoint of educating customers through our digital resources and materials that we would distribute through our correspondence with our customers, and really down to actually one-on-one type of situations where you're doing workshops, you're doing site visits to customers, and you're actually going to their waste container and doing a impromptu audit, as you're taking stock of what the opportunities are. And ultimately, I think that it's the combination of those steps, right? Consistently reminding residents and businesses of what is recyclable and how they can improve their recycling performance, but also that next step of going out and physically looking in containers and giving direct recommendations based on their waste stream.
That's super helpful and concrete, which is great. And then, Josh, how about cannabis? I read that you're working on solutions there as well. Can you expand on any solutions you're seeing?
Yeah, so here in California, we've had some changes in state law that obviously has expanded and legalized the cannabis industry. In my area, we've got a couple of jurisdictions that have basically started that process of licensing businesses that are in that industry and are basically setting up to accommodate that waste stream. Part of what we've been doing is really figuring out the steps forward such that we're dividing out those materials that are really organic in nature and don't pose any impacts to the regular waste stream, and coming up with a collection program that can be tailored to the needs of those individual customers. It's still a very boutique industry in the fact that there aren't a lot of standards from business to business, depending on where they're at in the development of cannabis materials, whether they're a grower or a processor or a retailer, that coming up with something that can be sized to their particular business, and then also developing the programs for those materials that are potentially going to pose or do pose an impact to the environment, and making sure that we're carefully delineating those out and also meeting the regulations that the state has set forth to ensure that those materials get properly disposed of. And to that extent, it's been interesting. It's certainly a new challenge in terms of an industry, just because it really is in its startup phase here in California. And so we're learning as we go in terms of being able to really step up and respond to the changes and needs of that industry. What I can say, though, is that it does offer a new opportunity both for us as a business as well as for a diversion stream. And I know that working with our municipal partners, that they're looking for those opportunities as well. And so it really is a great partnership for us.
Oh, I bet. And you'll have to keep us posted as that moves along, because I know it's a new frontier for everyone.
Yeah, and certainly, because of the approach the state of California is taking, is that we have to be very detailed in our approach. While in a lot of ways the waste stream may pose no environmental challenges, that there are certainly a lot of regulatory ones, and from that extent, we want to make sure that we're keeping ourselves safe as a service provider. We're keeping our customers safe. Obviously, they're looking for our assistance in delivering that service, and then obviously taking care of our communities. So it's something that challenge for us, but one that I think ultimately we're going to move forward on, and we're going to be able to manage very successfully.
Great. I'm sure you will. And I mean, speaking of new frontiers, it's obvious the waste industry is shifting, right? I mean, I'm sure you've seen that in the 5 years you've been in it, with regulations, technology, even customer expectations changing regularly. How are you and your team coping and or thriving? And what opportunities do you see, Josh?
It is certainly an exciting time to be in the industry. I know from the work that I do that there is a lot more conversations surrounding the idea of sustainability, and getting really down to the details of the waste stream and looking for those opportunities. Those conversations have been really, really positive. They know that waste management is the industry leader in making that happen. So they're really looking to us to be the subject matter experts in what they can do. So that's been certainly exciting. People first approach that President and CEO Jim Fish has taken is really starting to show itself on a day-to-day basis. I take a look at our senior leadership team and our leadership at the market area levels, and there's definitely an esprit de corps there. These are people that are not just good at their job. They're not just good here at Waste Management. They're good, period. I mean, it's just these are the leaders that are going to be able to move the company forward. You talk about embracing technology. Every day it seems like we're adding to our skill set from a technology standpoint. I know that more and more of our customers are looking for those opportunities to be able to customize their service. They are embracing the digital options that they have, and it's been exciting to see that. In terms of the customers themselves, I think are changing. I think especially here in California, there's diversity of backgrounds. There's a diversity of industries. And I think that in terms of how we approach that even though a lot of our services, and especially in the work that I do, are very standardized, in terms of making sure that they can be delivered and repeated basically into perpetuity, that there's a level of customization that has been added in recent years that allows people to have the service that suits their needs. And I think that we're only going to continue to move in that direction where we're reflective, the work that we do is reflective of the customers are wanting us to go. And to some extent, we have to kind of anticipate those needs. And so, we keep an eye on what's going on in the regulatory environment. We also keep an eye on what's going on in terms of advancements in technology. And certainly always adding to our skill sets and capabilities such that we'll be able to meet the needs of our customers, today, tomorrow, and basically, so long as there's a waste stream to collect and process.
Right. So, Josh, one of the things that stood out to us on your nomination for the 40 Under 40 award was that you've been described as really seeing your career as a calling for environmental and social change. Do you see it that way?
I really do. And I think that one of the things that makes me feel at home here at Waste Management, the people first culture, and I think in a lot of ways, the kinds of people that are drawn to the company because it has a social purpose. Certainly at the base of it, we certainly provide some very necessary services to our customers. But I think in a lot of that is driven through the fact that they see Waste Management as a company that's that's very mission driven. And I know that for me, that's what's kept me here, here in my role and in doing the work that I do, is that I see Waste Management as a company that is embracing change, something that we take a look at the issues we face at the local level as well as worldwide, and that it's going to take companies stepping up to the plate and finding that path forward that is not only good for business, but is good for our communities and is good for the environment. And I think that that's the approach the company has taken and really made it known that that's what it stands for. I really see the work that I do as contributing to that change and make the communities that I get to work with and the environment just that much better.
Absolutely. That's great. And then, Josh, what advice do you have for people entering this industry?
For those folks who may be thinking about getting into this industry, that there are real great opportunities in waste and recycling. I look at the companies that are in our industry today, and the opportunities are nearly endless. And I think that they're looking for top talent in a variety of skill sets. So, if you're one of those people like myself who value a company that is engaged in delivering environmental and social change, may be a great place for you. I think that traditionally the waste and recycling industry has been seen as a place for those folks that are maybe without specific training or education in terms of their background. And I would say that while there are opportunities to start out on the ground floor, that if you have a skill set in about any other aspect of business, that there are opportunities for you. I take a look at our senior leadership team. I know that Tara Hemmer was on a previous episode, and I know you talked to Davina Rankin. These are people that they're just great at what they do, and they have had the opportunity at Waste Management to develop in their roles, and now they're leading the company. And I think that if there is any great example of what's capable of being done in this industry, it's people that are, if you're passionate, if you're ambitious, if you're authentic, that I think that waste and recycling may be the industry for you.
Oh, I love that. Combining your talents and then the passion. I think that's great advice, Josh. So do you think there's anything else we should be paying attention to in the world of waste, recycling, and organics?
From my standpoint, there is so much that's going on. Specifically, important to me is reminding people about the need to operate safely. We are entrusted with serving communities throughout the country, and I think that most important thing that we can do is operate safely. And to that extent, that I know that Waste Management goes out of its way, so it's really at the forefront of what we do. And so it's something I think we need to be continue to be focused on. I know that recently some statistics came out and was a reminder that even for all the strides that we've made as an industry, that we've still got a ways to go.
That's great. Safety first. Definitely agree with that. And Josh, I know you do so much work with municipalities, and you're very close to the customers in your regions. What do you find is their biggest pain point, and how do you connect with them on a level where they know that you're going to meet their needs? These public sector folks are so busy, and the waste stream is just part of their job, and recycling is just part of their job. How do you get through to them and connect with them?
In the work that I do, I have a great opportunity to interact with the customers that we serve on a daily basis. And the conversations that I have, the feedback that I get, that helps to shape the programs that we offer. In some cases, folks are not excited about the changes in the waste and recycling industry. A lot of that is driven by regulations, and I think really what they're looking for is the reassurance that they're going to be able to get over those hurdles, whatever they may be, at their home or at their business. I think that they're looking for the direct path forward to be able to do that. And in my role, that's what I get to do, is kind of distill down those opportunities and those challenges and help develop programs that, customers either are really excited about and want, or are understanding that it's necessary for their community and their environment. I think that the great part about what I get to do is that I get to have those conversations on a daily basis and get that feedback to ensure that ultimately we're delivering on all of those counts.
Sure. And then what else? What keeps you busy outside of work?
Well, like a lot of people over the Christmas holiday, I received Adam Minter's new book. So I'm reading all about where our donated things go. He's always very insightful. In addition to that, I got married last year, and so my wife and I were both very career-driven, which doesn't leave a lot of free time. But for the time we do get away, we try to do a little bit of traveling. So exciting to go and visit places in the last couple of years, and we've got a couple of trips planned, including hopefully New Orleans here in May for Waste Expo.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. Well, Josh, thanks so much for your time today. It's going to be great for everyone to hear how one of our wonderful 40 under 40s looks at the industry and spends his time, and how passionate you are. And congrats again on your award, and keep up the great work. I really look forward to seeing you at Waste Expo.